Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Financial Buzz. I'm your host Hazim. Today we are diving deep into the property sector to look at a major player, MKLand's Holding Berhad. We often hear about the company make huge profit or launching new project, but today we are looking at the engine rooms, working capital management. How do they keep the lights on? How they pay the bills? And what does their strategy tell us about their future? Joining me to create the code are my two brilliant colleagues, Ikmal and Fauzan.
Thanks Hazim, great to be here.
Yes.
Thanks Hazim, pleasure to meet you.
Awesome. Before we got technical, let's set the stage. Fauzan, to our listener who might be new to finance, what exactly is working capital?
Sure Hazim, think of working capital as a daily operating fuel that keeps a business running. It includes your cash, your inventory and your receivable. Essentially, it reflects how business manage its short-term obligation.
So, if the tank is empty, the car stops?
Exactly. It ensures a smooth daily operation and reduce risk of cash shortage.
Alright, let's look at the gauge on that tank. Ikmal, we pulled the statement of financial position for MKLand as of June 30, 2024. What's the verdict on their liquidity?
It's very interesting picture, Hazim. We'll calculate their net working capital. We took their total current asset, which set at roughly 353,000, and subtract their total current liabilities, which were 342,000.
That sound pretty close?
It is. The result is a positive net working capital 11,000.
I jump in here, Hazim.
Go ahead, Fauzan.
1100 might sound like a lot of money for a student, but for a property developer, it's very slim cushion.
A slim cushion?
Yeah, imagine having just enough cash in your wallet to get through a day. It works. You can buy lunch and pay for the bus, but it leaves almost no room for unexpected costs.
I see. So, while the report says this show positive working capital management and good liquidity, it's not exactly an aggressive buffer?
Correct. They can cover their short-term obligations, but they are operating very efficiently. Perhaps a bit too efficiently for some tastes. They aren't sitting on a mountain of idle cash.
Okay, so they have this slim cushion, but how are they funding all this asset? That brings us to the strategy. Ikmal, you analyze their financing mix. What approach is MKLand taking?
Hazim, they are adopting a classic conservative approach.
Conservative? Break that down for us.
Sure. In finance, you have temporary assets and permanent assets. A conservative company finances all it fits, all its permanent current asset, and even a portion of its temporary assets using long-term financing.
So, they prefer long-term debt or short-term debt?
Overwhelmingly, look at the data. Their permanent plus spontaneous financing, which is the long-term stable stuff, is about 1.69 million.
And the short-term financing?
Only 43,000.
Wow, that is a huge difference.
That is massive. So, Ikmal, why do they do this? Why lock into the long-term financing?
It's all about risk, Hazim. This approach has the lowest risks. If you rely on short-term loans, you have to renew them constantly. What if the bank says no next year? By using long-term funds, they have security.
But there is a downside, right Ikmal?
Absolutely. Low risk usually means low returns. Long-term debt can be more expensive to hold, and keeping excess funds idle for emergencies means that money isn't out, they're earning high returns.
So, MKLand is basically playing defense. They want to make sure they survive any storm, even if it means sacrificing some profit growth.
That is the perfect way to put it.
We have talked about where the money come from. Now, let's talk about where it goes. Fauzan, you look at their investment policy. If they are conservative with debt, how are they with their asset?
They are equally cautious, Hazim. We identify their policy as a relaxed policy.
Relax. Sound nice. Does that mean they just sit back?
Not quite. A relaxed policy means they maintain significantly high level of asset relative to sales.
Do we have number on that?
We do. We'll calculate the ratio of a current asset to sales. It came out 4.34.
Wow, 4.34? That seems high.
It is. It means every ringgit of sale, they have more than 4 ringgit tied up in current asset like inventory and receivable.
Is that a good thing?
It's a double-edged sword. On the positive side, it ensures a greater liquidity. They have plenty of inventory to sell and plenty of inventory coming. It's a flexible credit policy,
But
but it's lead to a low return on investment. Having that much capital tied up in inventory reduce productivity. It's like buying a 5-year worth of grocery at once. You definitely want stuff, but you have tied up all of your cash in can of food sitting in the pantry.
I love that analogy. So, excess liquidity reduce productivity. Before we wrap up, I want to pivot a bit. In your report, you guys mentioned that analyzing MK Land is actually taught you something about our own group work. Fauzan, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a light bulb moment for us. We realized that our group dynamic were just like a financing balance sheet.
How so?
Well, think about a permanent current asset for MK Land. That's the stable foundation. For us, we needed a stable foundation of reliable team members. People we could count on for the core, writing and design.
and then there are the temporary assets.
Which represent what? The deadline rush?
Exactly. The challenge of managing fluctuating efforts during peak workloads. Just like MK Land used temporary financing for immediate needs, we had to coordinate our spontaneous energy to meet tight submission dates.
Ultimately, it taught us that a corporation or a group student can't rely on individual brilliance alone. We need that collective backing to ensure no one face a challenge alone.
That is a fantastic takeaway. Finance, it isn't about money. It's about resources management. Whether those resources are ringgit or human effort. So, to summarize our audit of MK Land Holding Berhad, first, we talk about liquidity. Stable but tight, with a slim cushion of 11,000 ringgit. Second, strategy. A conservative approach to financing minimize risk by using long-term funds. And third, policy, a relaxed policy. Regarding asset, keeping the pantry stock to ensure operation never stop, even if it costs some efficiency.
That sum is perfectly.
Spot on, Hazim.
Ikmal and Fauzan, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Hazim.
Okay, to our lovely listener, thank you for turning into the financial past. Remember, if you are managing a property empire or just your monthly allowance, please keep your assets safe and watch your capital network. See you next time.